Hi, it's Chris Watkin here, and I'm with Charlotte Jeffrey Campbell, very well-known estate agency and letting agency trainer. Charlotte, is perfectionism in the lettings industry holding us back? Talk to me.
Well, I think it's really important to aspire to perfection as the letting or estate agent, and you need those tools to give you confidence in that you're delivering the best service for your customer.
Well, let's all be frank. Estate agents, they're not into perfectionism. I'm talking
Oh,
more about letting
yeah.
agents.
Letting agents, no, I think it is important to be quite a perfectionist in our industry, because perfectionism to me leads to really understanding your customer,
Okay.
taking time and care with them.
I
Whether we are all perfectionists in the industry, I would disagree, but it's a good aspiration.
I have to disagree with you.
Okay.
I have to disagree that I think perfectionism is a disease that holds people back.
Okay, yes.
Okay.
All right, so I see where you're coming from this. So I know as a personality, I'm a perfectionist.
Okay.
And I know that I sometimes have had scenarios where I've failed, or I felt like I'm failing. I haven't hit my targets, and I go home at the end of the day and I feel like I've failed. But actually what I'd done was a really good job, and I'd really got to know my customers. And I think as you get older in life, you become a little bit less of a perfectionist because you have a degree of understanding of what is realistic in your day, and we're all very busy.
It's interesting. I got into a conversation with a very nice lady on social media a couple of weeks ago, and she said that you need, just like yourself, we need to strive for perfectionism, because if we don't get it right, especially in lettings, landlords
Yes.
are going to prison. And she said if we did that, we would be extremely slapdash, and people would get into trouble. Do you think perfection? But can you ever be perfect?
I think there are certain things in lettings that you have to be perfect at. You have to get your gas check done on time. You have to make sure the property's safe. You have to have good understanding of, the safety of your property. But it's more than that. It's winning business, I think, is part of our role.
I mean, when was the last time a letting agent decided to jack their job in, put everything on the line, and said to their partner, do you know, I want to put everything on the line so I can stay up until 10 o'clock at night to ensure every single box on my CRM systems tick perfectly?
No, they don't.
But that's what they do.
Yeah. Do you
Because
think?
Yeah, of course they do.
Well, I suppose I look at it from the point of view of when I look at the data that agents are gathering at the beginning, where they're trying to get to know their customer. And I think we've got to a point in the industry where we've become quite robotic because the CRM system controls us, and we don't have that relationship with the client. And I would challenge all letting agents and estate agents to really listen to their customer care calls, listen to what's going on, and assess how robotic they're coming across over the phone with their customer, because I think there's a risk of that. But we need to be perfectionists in the behind the scenes elements. We need to get that right.
I agree with the upfront bit, but I'm sorry, I disagree with you with the perfectionism.
Okay.
You see, whenever you say to a letting agent, you shouldn't be a perfectionist, they then turn around and say, well, if it was slapdash and everything else, I'd only get like 50% done. I'm not talking about slapdash and 50%. I'm talking about, what do you think the opposite of perfectionism is?
Well, I guess the opposite of perfectionism is not having a care and not monitoring detail, not keeping track of detail. And I think that is something as an industry we have to do. I think it's really important.
Okay. You see, a lot of people say the opposite of perfectionism is mediocrity or mediocre. Okay. And I would actually say the opposite of mediocre is a strive for excellence.
Yes.
Okay. And you can never get to 100%. And I would say perfectionism isn't a lot of people say perfectionism is a state of mind. And I think it's all about being conscientious in your work and striving for excellence, and not beating yourself up if you get to 98 or 99%.
Yeah.
But you'll never get to 100%. And the amount you said, you beat yourself up.
Yeah,
why?
Absolutely. I don't know, because I think as salespeople, I think we're a real funny bunch, because I think we're outwardly very confident, and our job is to influence and persuade. But if you say no to me, I think a lot of estate agents, it affects them.
That's a different thing. That's not a perfectionism thing. You see, most letting agents are detail-orientated people, very conscientious, want to do everything right, almost perfect to the point that it's holding them back. Would you
property
agree?
managers, yes. Letting agents front of house, I would still say, are the salespeople that are driven to win business. Yeah.
So would you always put them in the same category as estate agents?
Yes.
Okay.
For me, the behind-the-scenes property managers,
They're the ones that beat themselves up.
No, I think they're the ones who need to have process. They need to be
Don't
perfect at what
disagree,
they do.
but I'm not talking about.
Perfectionism, I suppose it's what you define. Perfectionism,
well, I'm saying
isn't
go
it?
for excellence.
Yes, and I agree with excellence. But I don't think I think you have to be perfect, that all of your 200 property management stock have their gas check done on time. That has to be perfect.
But that's part of being aim for excellence.
Yes, and I think for me it's about perfectionism is impossible in most areas of our industry because we haven't got enough hours in the day. I would love to be able to speak to every single client on my database regularly. I would love to be able to visit all my properties, once they're put on the market, to win more business and get a relationship with my client. I can't do that, so therefore I have to be excellent. I can't be perfect. But I think in some areas I have to strive to be perfect, because if I don't, then I could be letting my client down.
Do you think
it's different parts of the same industry, I think.
You've admitted that you're a bit of a perfectionist.
I am completely,
okay.
yeah.
Why do you think you're a perfectionist?
I think, I don't know, we've talked about this before, haven't we?
We have, but not in front of camera.
No, I think for me, I don't think I realised what my strive to perfectionism was about until I reached my 40s, and I realised that I had to take a little bit of pressure off myself.
Okay.
I left a job once because I didn't think I was good enough, and after the event my boss said to me, "Why did you leave?" And I said, "Because I didn't think I was good enough." And they said, "We thought you were brilliant." And I think it's so important that we feed back to our staff and give us confidence, because we're all wired in different ways.
100% agree.
But we talked about parents and whether or not we're always trying to impress, and I would say yes, I've always tried to impress my parents. And
you see, I'm really into the
Yeah.
psychology of all this shit.
Yeah,
Excuse my French. And okay, and don't get me wrong, you do need that. I think aiming for perfection, you're going to beat yourself up. I'm striving for excellence, but a lot of it comes down to the fact is that as a child you were told you weren't good enough. That really hurt you as a child.
Yes,
so therefore,
course.
since then, I mean, you've been honest that one of your parents was always
I was always looking at what more can you do, and I'm glad that was how it was, because it made me strive. But don't you think there are different stages in your life?
Of course there are.
I think there are stages in your life where you have to strive and you have to look for excellence. I agree what you're saying about perfectionism. You can't always be perfect.
But do you let's have this final thought. Do you think with the way the younger generation have been brought up, where probably the parents haven't given that pressure, we could go completely the opposite way and all, and making a sweeping statement here, but do you think the millennials probably might not make great letting agents because they don't aim for perfection? It's all about happiness and
well, good is good
toast.
enough, absolutely. But then to a degree, that's why I think the millennials need more support. So I suppose it's that different approach, that if you think in our generation we were sort of given that little tap on the head and crack on, you've got to do it this way and you've got to do it right. The millennials, I think they want that support and encouragement and recognition. And I think if you've got a team of millennials working with you, then it's really important that you recognise what they're good at, support them when they need it, and really question and understand what does motivate your team, because everybody's motivation is different. And somebody might be happy with Snapdash, somebody else might be happy with perfection. So it's about... What is balance? You said kicking you in the knee.
Don't worry. Should we talk about that in greater detail in the next video?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Thanks very much.